Some of the most questions we get asked about are about writing task number 2. For whatever reason, people get particularly nervous about this task. But it's actually pretty simple, particularly if you focus on creating a really good introduction. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. So, with an introduction, there are 4 main components. We have the general statement, the topic sentence, and the disclaimer, followed by the segue. Now, this might be something that's relatively new to you, the general statement. Well, what is the general statement? Well, the general statement is a device that we use to help us to save a lot of time in pre-writing. Often we may get really nervous and not be able to come up with something creative or something meaningful, and so we spend a lot of time making mind maps, and ultimately it just wastes a lot of time. One of the biggest enemies you have in the IELTS examination is time. So let's take a look at a specific example. So what we have here is we need to come up with a general statement. So how do we identify which subject, which topic within the task we're going to create a general statement for? Well, we can see that there are newspaper and magazines, it's underlined there, and we also see famous people as well as private lives. So a general statement works like this. We can say anything general about any one of those 3 subtopic points. For example, newspapers and magazines. Say something general like, newspapers and magazines are the way that we as humans get our information. Might be a little silly, but you could use it. What about famous people? Famous people are always in the spotlight of the world around them. What about private lives? Private lives are something which are near and dear to all of us, and we prefer not to be disturbed. These are all just general statements, and that is how we can start any of our essays, by just saying something general about some of the subtopics which were mentioned in the task. So once we've completed our general statement, we move on to our topic sentence. Now, the most important part about a topic sentence is that you want to say very clearly what you intend to discuss in the essay. Whether that's 2 points or ideally 3 points, you will mention those points in the topic sentence. For example, by saying something like, I'm going to be discussing the importance of privacy, why famous people deserve that right as well, and how newspapers make that very difficult. So these are 3 separate points that we could talk about, and you can come up with any 3 points, but the important point is you're going to mention that in the topic sentence. Then we move on to the disclaimer. What is a disclaimer? Well, the way that we think about a disclaimer is perhaps you've seen a commercial for some sort of miracle medicine. They'll say something like, this product cures your headaches, and then at the very end you'll see in small print or in very quick talking, they'll say something like, this also causes some side effects, maybe upset stomach or vomiting or something like that. These are disclaimers to explain to you, look, the intended use is this, but these are some potential side effects. So it's the same thing that we do when we're writing our essay. We mention, look, there are other topics that we could talk about, but I'm going to focus on the 3 that I mentioned here in my topic sentence. After that, we move on to the final point, which is the segue. So the segue is actually how we move from the introduction into body point number 1. And once we produce this full introduction, this gives you a beautiful framework to use to make it easy on you to complete the rest of your essay. This sets it up for you very easily by helping you to get through the creative process and eliminate a lot of pre-writing using a general statement, mentioning clearly the points that you intend to discuss, by using a good topic sentence, mentioning those things which could have been discussed, but why you're focusing on the others, and transitioning from the introduction into body point number one. This framework makes it very easy to follow, and then you just plug in body point number one, body point number two, body point number three. Overall, a well-done introduction will help you to set a good framework for the rest of the essay, making it easier for you to follow a clear path to success.